Hello, everyone. This is Nicholas Peter Ugero, and today I have the pleasure and honor of having Jeff Witzeman on my channel. Thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate it.
Nicholas, good to be with you.
Yeah, and so Jeff is he's a documentary filmmaker. He's been a part of a band. Are you still currently?
No, I just write music for TV and film now.
Oh, crap! Wow, that's impressive. And he's going to be talking to me about masks and his story and things that we can do and some resources that we can use and utilize to have more confidence going into stores and just standing up to this pandemic that's happening right now. And so if you just want to give people a brief introduction about yourself, your website, and what's been going on with you in your life. And sorry, I had the things right here.
So
your documentary and what you've been doing during the pandemic.
Right. So Nicholas, about 5 years ago, I made a film called Cancer Can Be Killed, about the natural ways of treating cancer. And it was very, very popular. And then it showed 15 people healing naturally without chemo, radiation, or radical surgery. And then after that film came out, parents started calling me saying, hey, my kid's in remission from cancer, and doctors are forcing my child into 2 to 4 years of chemotherapy with disastrous effects, all in the name of supposedly keeping them in remission, right? And so we made a new film called Flipping the Script, showing parents how to get their children out of the system. And basically it involves calling their bluff. So the doctors say, all right, your child has to do 2 to 4 years chemo. The parents say, no, they're not. And the doctors say, okay, we're going to call Child Protective Services on your child for being a bad parent. And parents on. And Child Protective Services comes to the house. They present CPS with the data of how badly these kids are destroyed by long-term chemo. And then they give it back to CPS and say, do you want this liability on your hands? Because if you want to take my dead child and pay me the millions of dollars you owe me for forcing him into chemo, you can do that. And CPS runs the other direction and goes, hey, why don't you try doing, what was it you said you did? And the parents go, we do nutrition, detox, cannabis oil, IV nutrients, all modalities that heal the child without being toxic. And CPS goes, okay, do it. And these kids are fine. They stay in remission. They don't relapse like the doctors say they will. So that was flipping the script. And then after flipping the script, I found out that colon hydrotherapy is maybe one of the greatest healing tools for adults in the world, just in terms of detox. So I made a film about colon hydrotherapy. Those are all listed on my cancercanbekilled.com website. But my real mission has been turning this thing around over the last year. And Nicholas, I, like everybody else, have not done a very good job at this. It's involved me yelling and screaming, beating my chest, I will sue your ass kind of stuff. Just, and what happens is all the energy gets diffused, right? But I didn't have the key. I didn't have the key to unlock this door. I found the key in the last month. I've been making videos about it, posting them on Instagram and Facebook, and that's what brings us to today.
Yeah, and I found out about your videos from my good friend Lindsay. She was really inspired by it, and she's like, "You have to watch these. This is just so funny, and it's just crazy how he's dealing with it, and they don't even know how to react." And then your follow up, he went to Sprouts, the grocery store, and he ended up getting arrested, and the charges were dropped a couple days later. And then he made a video. I can just show it really quick, just so people can see. So here's his original one, where he goes to Sprouts.
That's the one where I went back a second time. And this is him running away from me. The manager's running away.
Oh, yeah, this is the second one, yeah.
Yeah, he's just terrified of me. He doesn't know what to do. He's calling his corporate office. He's like, hey, man, I thought we arrested this guy. Why is he back?
Yeah. So there he is running away. You make your transaction.
Yeah, so I'm just following him. I'm like, hey, man, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm here. What's up? And he just refuses to talk to me.
And so what, or I'll go to your website. Let's start with that. So Sorry, I'm just getting so excited because it's just so hilarious. All right, so here's your website. So if you want to just explain this a little bit to people and what they can find on here, and
Right. So if they go to www.cancercanbekilled.com, there's trailers for all the films, and there's also some other tabs you can click on there to get smoothie recipes, to find out what natural cancer treatment is all about. The films are available on iTunes, Vimeo on Demand, and Google Play. They used to be available on Amazon Prime Videos, and then Adam Schiff made a call to Jeff Bezos with a letter that he published online saying, "What are you doing to control the medically inaccurate information on your site?" And all of my films were pulled, and there's nothing medically inaccurate in any of those films because there's doctors throughout the films talking about what's possible. This is a free film people can watch. It's called One at a Time. It's about a mother who thought, hey, I'll just give my kid their shots, at their wellness visits, just one at a time. Because a lot of times they try to give kids 6 shots at a time. She's like, I'll just give them one at a time. And then my kid will be okay. Well, actually, by giving her child the shots one at a time, it allowed her to find out the injuries after each shot. And thus showing her that, oh my God, these things are toxic as the dickens. We can't use them anymore. So this is a great video, a 20-minute film from a mother who is so intelligent, so educated. It's a must-see for any young mom who's about to have kids.
wow. All right, and that's incredible. I'm definitely pumped for that one. So yeah, so you can find treatments, smoothies. Yeah, what do you need to know? You have a little shop. Yeah, this is excellent. Wow.
Lots of
it. All right, so
yeah,
perfect. So what have you been doing for like during the pandemic? So at first have you been going maskless from the start, or was it something that through just learning more about it you decided to do that?
Yeah, so here in California, it's pretty hardcore, and I was going maskless from the start. And then I think it was about September that they got serious about the whole lockdown thing. And that's when I got into some serious trouble with the farmer's market. There's a farmer's market guy that was really on me, and he was like, it didn't matter that I had a medical exemption, and he called the cops on me, and the cops ushered me out of the farmer's market. And that's when I lost it. I just, I was yelling, I will sue your ass. Lots of F-bombs. Everybody around me just hiding their eyes like, holy shit, this guy is going off. And so I did not do well. And then I would go to Sprouts, and of course, they got to the point where they're like, yeah, we're not even going to check you out, buddy. You put this mask on or we're not checking you out. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because now, mind you, I've made all these films about disease. So viruses aren't the cause of disease. Toxic solutions are not solutions. I mean, I know all this stuff. Like for those of us who know this stuff, a mask is like a chain link fence to a mosquito. It's just like, there's a part of our brains that just explodes every time a guy stands there at Sprouts and goes, sorry, man, we're not checking you out. You wear this mask or we're not checking you out. And it's just like, you want to just jump out of your skin and just jump on the guy. But so anyway, all I could do was yell. So that's when I pulled back, Nicholas, this is where the wisdom came. I pulled back, got out of all the drama. I wore a face shield just to compromise, and I put right across the top of the face shield, this shield is unnecessary. Fauci is a liar, and I do not support fake science. And the beauty of that is, at least if I have to wear something, people are going to read it, and they're going to see what's going on. So then we finally got to the point a month ago where I heard one of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s attorneys. His name is Ray Flores, and he's in San Diego. And I filmed him, and I posted it on Instagram and Facebook. And Ray introduced me to this law. Like, I already knew about the Americans with Disabilities Act. It is illegal federally illegal for anyone to discriminate against somebody with a medical exemption. I had that in my back pocket. I tried to use it, and Sprouts and other places are like, yeah, that doesn't matter because we're a private organization and we can do whatever we want. I was like, well, that doesn't sound right. But I only had that one law. So then I found out from Ray Flores, 21 U.S. Code 360 BBB-3 says that no emergency authorized medical product can be mandated. And if you go down to Section E, it says the option to accept or refuse administration of the product. Now, the emergency authorized medical products are the mask, the PCR test, and the vaccine. Nobody has to use any of those three things. They are emergency use. They are not mandated. Nobody can mandate them. So we're always told, hey, the health department can mandate this stuff. Nope. Local health departments cannot mandate any of this stuff. So now I'm armed with the Americans with Disabilities Act. I'm armed with 21 U.S. Code BBB 360 BBB-3. There's a woman named Peggy Hall from thehealthyamerican.org, and she's got, these documents you can download from her site. One's called the U.S. Civil Rights Protection. One's called, Direct Threat. And there we are, bingo. And now I had 4 documents that I could walk in with. And I realized that from watching all these videos about law, there's something called common law versus maritime law. Maritime law is the legal system we have now, where it's just a bunch of crap. It's not. There's no justice. It's a legal system that you basically give away all your rights for lots of people to make money. And common law is the people's law, which basically we say, I'm going to live a lawful life and I'm going to do what I please, and you can't stop me. And so, armed with all this knowledge, I go to Sprouts about 3 weeks ago, and I'm inspired. I mean, I'm really vibrating at a high frequency, and I go in there, and it's a great video because the guy tries to falsely imprison me. He says I can't check out. I pay cash for the item. We have a discussion. He calls the sheriff's department. The sheriff comes. I film the whole thing, and I remind the sheriff that it's his job to uphold the Constitution. I remind him that corporations do not have any rights that supersede federal law. And then we get to the front. And so there's Andrew, the manager of Sprouts. There's the sheriff and myself, and we're all having a discussion. And it's beautiful because I film the whole thing. And at one point, the sheriff tells me, you have to give the product back to him. I had bought this coconut milk, almond milk creamer. And he said, you have to give it back and he's going to give you the cash. And I said, well, no, I already purchased it and I gave him the cash. And he goes, and the sheriff says, yeah, but he doesn't want to accept your cash. And I said, well, that's his problem, not mine. So I held on to the thing. So finally, push comes to shove. The sheriff says to the manager, what do you want to do? Because I'm not going to arrest him. And so then the manager goes, okay, I want him cited for trespassing charges. So the cop pulls me over, tells me to put my hands behind my back. He's going to write me a ticket. And he didn't handcuff me. I mean, it was really cool. At least where I live, the sheriffs are really cool. So he didn't handcuff me. I got in the back of the cop car. I just wanted to see how this was going to play out. So I'm not using all my common law language of saying, I do not consent, asking him, am I obligated? And so he writes me a ticket for trespassing. 2 weeks later, the whole thing gets thrown out of court. And I'm on the phone with my sheriffs, telling them, hey, are you guys going to protect me? And the sheriffs they just don't want to get involved. Okay. Because they're bamboozled like everybody else. And so I go back into Sprouts a second time and, again, pay cash for something. The next day I go to Home Depot. And here's what I've learned, Nicholas. A calm human being acting out of love with the truth, there's no defense. There's no defense. And so the key to making this whole thing work is being calm, not asking for permission. It's saying, this is what I'm going to do, and then giving them a voice so they can say something back. And then, you tell them what you need to tell them, and then you just go about your business. And so that's sort of the long story. I've got some tips for people to go along with this, but I just want to stop right there, Nicholas, and give you a chance to respond and tell me anything you're thinking.
Yeah, if I could even respond to all that. Oh my Lord, that's so good. Yeah, it's because that's how I feel at first, like being super passionate and super upset, understanding that this is just absolutely ridiculous and just the absurdity of it all. People just kind of falling for this thing and not doing their own due diligence, just kind of listening to what the mainstream has to say, or maybe potentially other sources that are mimicking that. And it's just really frustrating, especially just seeing children with masks on. It really gets me upset. It's really hard to see that sort of thing. Learning more about the negative effects of masks, mask mouth. You can get bacterial pneumonia, fungal pneumonia. You can possibly lose teeth just from your gums receding. And yeah, just so many negatives to it. And this is not what it's for. Just like you said, the chain link fence and a mosquito, it just doesn't make sense at all. It's absolutely absurd just on the face of it. It shouldn't take very long for people to figure that out. And so for me, if it were to get to that point where they were talking about police, it's at first I would be really upset, but now that I haven't really had any interactions with any customers besides once, and I've been waiting for it. And I was actually really nice to the woman. Like, I was really calm, and I had a smile on my face. I was like, masks don't work. And I'm just talking to him. I'm not raising my voice. I was kind of excited because it was the first time I actually saw it in person. Like, a woman like pointing at like the sign. It says wear masks. It's required. Well, you shouldn't be in here. I'm like, take vitamin C and vitamin D. And nothing happened, And just all your points were great. The resources you got are great. Just knowing that you have more information and the steps that you're taking are excellent. You just made so many good points that it's hard for me to even try to remember all of it so I can respond to each one individually. But yeah, it was very excellent.
Nicholas,
I really appreciate that.
You bet, man. I just want to mention, people, we've been told to be afraid. We've been told to conform. We've been told that our rights don't matter. And here's the truth that I found out this last 3 weeks. The police and the sheriffs can do nothing. These are all idle threats. The law is the law, and nobody is above the law. And we are there now en masse to remind everybody of the truth lovingly. And I mean, they can join us or they can live in fear. And I know now there's a lot of people that want to get off the fear train and get on the love train. And they can do it when they know that there's no recourse. They've got nothing on us. So here we go. Let the revolution begin.
Yeah, I wish I knew this stuff last year before I left my 2 jobs over the mask mandates, because I would have been able to just be like, hey, you can't do this, because it's all new ground. It was all new territory. They were just coming up with a new policy, and I'd love to just show you send you my video where I talk about my experience with Now Foods, the natural company, natural products company. They made like their own little video for the TVs in the locker rooms and stuff. And they wanted you to drive to work with a mask on, roll down the window to where your forehead's exposed. They're going to scan it. If it's over 100.4, you're sent home to go to the doctor to get a test. And then if you refuse to do it, which I refused, then they send you home, and they were going to call me back to talk to me about my employment status. And they never called me back. They ended up sending me a piece of mail a couple weeks later saying, oh, you didn't show for 3 days, so we're considering those no-call, no-shows, so you're fired. Or we're taking it that you quit. That's what they said. So and it's a Christian company. It's a Christian company. They're independent. They're not owned by anybody else besides themselves, and they still acted like that. And it's a company that was like my almost like a dream job of sorts because I was already a customer of them, and it was really great to be there and to be a part of that, helping make the capsules and all that stuff. But now it's like I don't even want to support them whatsoever because it's just absolutely ridiculous, and they're still doing that little charade at work, and it's really sad to see that. And yeah, when this thing first started going off and they started doing the mask mandates, as I was telling you off air, just so everyone else knows, I wasn't going to stores. I was just, if my brother or like a friend was going, I would ask if they can grab some stuff. I would throw them some cash, or I would dumpster dive, do those kind of things. I didn't think that there's any sort of option. I saw the signs on the front of the doors, the masks are required, 6 feet apart, this and this. So I thought there was no way of getting out of that. I thought you had to wear a mask in order to get in there. And it wasn't until my friend Lindsay started doing it, going in maskless, and I started learning more about it, about some of the things that we could do. That's when I finally started going to some stores. But places like Menards or Home Depot, those kind of, like I heard Menards is really hard on people. Like you cannot go into Menards at all. So like I haven't gone into those kind of places, like the really strict ones, because usually I just say I have a medical condition, and that's basically it. There's nothing that they really do about it. I've never had really any sort of extended confrontation, so that's been good for me. But it's just really sad to see that people are just going along with this. What happened to 2 weeks to flatten the curve? And at that point, there was already like over 90% of people that were wearing masks also. So what happened to that? Once you take the shot, then we're going to go back to normal. Oh, you still have to wear a mask. You still have to distance. Oh, what happened to what you originally said? They're just literally flipping the script almost daily. And they're keeping people so off balance that they don't even know what to think. They don't even know which way is left. And so they're just like, oh, just tell me what I need to do now. And it's really there's a lot of gaslighting, and it's just, and it's really unfortunate that how many people are falling for it. But I do feel like a lot of people in those stores are inspired by people going in maskless, because I feel like a lot of people don't want to do that. At the very least, is wear that mask. So,
and even the police are behind us. Some of them,
yeah,
and they're cheering us on. Those of us who don't wear masks.
Yeah. So let me just get my little things really quick. So obviously adding the documents definitely helped you in terms of like Home Depot or going into other stores. Did you try to go into stores that you couldn't go into before with the new documents?
Yeah, I'm in the process of doing that now. And so I've gotten as far as Sprouts and Home Depot. Next will be my farmers markets. And then finally will be Trader Joe's, because those guys they've got a really good racket going there. And I really look forward to taking them down. But they're sort of the PhD program, because Trader Joe's, they have their store set up like a jail, and they only allow certain people in, and they've got all these managers, all these employees, and the moment somebody comes in and does something that they don't want, they surround them. And so I want to be fully loaded with not only the law, but with other people that are with me. And I want to educate them. I want to love them. I want to educate them. And once I have enough of these experiences under my belt, I feel like I'll be able to say, hey, Sprouts did this, Whole Foods did this, Home Depot did this, and now we expect you to do this. So that's kind of where we're going with that.
Yeah, and I used to work for Aldi, and it like Trader Joe's and Aldi are together. Basically, it's like the brothers; they own it, each one of them. And I did go into Trader Joe's before last year. I had the mask under my chin. This was when I was wearing it, but I had it not covering my face at all. But now I just go in without one. But I haven't gone to the Trader Joe's in a while. But they didn't say anything to me at that point, I was surprised. No one said anything. But I do know that I heard that Aldi's not that strict either, which is surprising also. Yes. But I did hear that they were trying to, what is it? Like, not coerce, but just they were saying, oh, we'll give you 4 hours of work pay if you get the shot, or all these other things. So like they're trying to entice them to do these kind of things. And it's like, and I got fired from Aldi for dumpster diving for stealing, which is hilarious in itself. But yeah, all these corporations, they're just trying to do it. They're just doing what they're told. They think they're going to get shut down, especially the smaller businesses. They think they're just going to get shut
And
down.
also, Nicholas, they get a lot of money for putting that no entry without a mask sign. They get a lot of money for locking their store down and not allowing people to purchase without a mask. This is all financial. Like, this has nothing to do with health. And nobody's being transparent about the money that's changing hands here. Like, we know that hospitals are getting $13,500 for every death they call a COVID death. Like, right there, that should just be immediate understanding for everybody in America. Oh my God, we got scammed. Okay, let's stop all this crap and let's find out what's really going on. Let's replace these doctors with these doctors. Okay, we're good now. But no, it's like, wow. So that's all right. We'll get there. We're going to change things.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. I'm just so everyone knows, I'm almost 100% guaranteeing it, just because of what the conversation has been going to right now, that this is going to get deleted off of YouTube. So luckily, I'm going to be able to download this and put it onto BitChute and Odyssey, and there's other websites called Float.app, that's a Twitter alternative, and then Minds.com, that's a Facebook, Twitter alternative. So please know that once this is deleted, it's going to be on those platforms.
And by the way, there's a chance this won't get deleted because I'm not using certain words, right? And so what happens is YouTube goes through the transcript of our conversation and they look for any offensive words. And you notice you and I have both been using other words to talk about things rather than using the V word or, words that trigger them. They've already said, we're going to pull every content that uses this word and talks about this. So I am able to be careful about using the right words. So you never know, Nicholas, this might not get pulled.
All right. Yeah. Cause the past couple interviews I've had, I've been talking about like self-censorship, and even within self-censorship within the age of censorship and mass division. And I personally, I don't censor myself. I guess I've just been kind of, I usually say shot, because it's not a vaccine. It's not even it's a completely different technology. So it's gene therapy. So I personally don't censor myself. So it could be pulled, but I had this gentleman, Benny Wills, on, and he talked about being more tactful. You can still get your message across without self-censoring, but you can just choose your words carefully.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's why I've been trying to do that as well. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't get pulled. I'd love for people to be able to continue to see it on these platforms that are way more controlled than ever. But of course, I'm still posting them on the other ones also. So for people that are fearful of going to stores maskless and alone, what are some words of encouragement or some tips? I know you've already shared the documents, but we can go through them also a lot more right now if you wanted to.
So one of the documents I have is called Shopping Maskless, if you have that one.
Mm-hmm.
And, first of all, you got to have a cell phone, right? So you're walking in and you're doing this and you're saying, hi, and blah, blah, blah. And when they say, hey, why are you filming me? Say, I'm just defending myself. I just need to defend myself. And so, what you're doing is you're filming from beginning to end, right? Then you hand them, say, I'm going to proceed. And they're going, no, you're not going to go in without a mask. And you're like, oh, I have a medical exemption. Here is the paperwork you need to defend yourself as well as myself. It lists the federal law, which is 21 U.S. Code, about what can be done with medical devices, the Americans with Disabilities Act, what our civil rights protection is, and then another document about me being no threat. And I give that to them. Now, if they really want to be jerks about it, I say, and I'd like you to sign each one of those, please. And I'm filming as I'm saying that. And as they say, I'm not going to sign your stupid papers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, got it on film right here that you are not willing to abide by the law. Okay, that's strike number one against you, Mr. Manager, but go ahead. You do what you want to do. Then second, when I come to these stores, Nicholas, I'm paying cash, okay? Because when I get to the checkout line, they're going to go, we're not going to check you out because you're not wearing a mask. And so you say, oh, okay, that's all right. I'll just pay cash. And then you say, okay, here's the product I purchased. It was this amount of money. You know, you can write them down as you're shopping. Say, okay, the total is $10. Tax here in California is 9.8% or whatever, roughly 10%. I'm going to give you $11 for this $10 purchase. I'm going to put it right down on the counter here. Thank you for helping me today. I'm going to go now. And so then at that point, if somebody tries to falsely imprison you, you know, you're filming them and you can ask them, are you falsely imprisoning me right now? Are you telling me I can't leave your store? And then they're going to have to back up or whatever. And, you know, if necessary, you know, you can have conversations with them and just ask them, hey, I want to ask you about wearing a mask. Do you know that wearing a mask is like stopping a mosquito from getting through a chain link fence? And by the way, why are you wearing just one mask? Why aren't you wearing two? Like, if you really care about your customers and your staff, my goodness, that's selfish of you to just wear one mask, isn't it?
Yeah, and just
So,
to add to that point, why
yeah,
are they not having their employees become clean shaven? Why are they not having professional people come in and have classes for their employees so that they can be certified in how to properly put on a mask? Once you touch the dang thing, you have to throw it out. And why are we not throwing out in hazmat buckets or anything like that if it's such a pandemic? People with full beards that are working there as employees have a little mask on. It's literally, um, it's unbelievable. So just, yeah, please continue. But I just noticed that people do that as employees. It's just ridiculous if they really cared about health.
right. And number 5, you know, says you tell them you're protecting them from the illegal mandates made by the corrupt state and local health departments, while at the same time protecting your right to freedom. See, they're afraid. All right. So that's why we're coming there in love, in truth, in calm energy, just to help them come on over to our side, which is, hey, man, you and I are on the same side of the ballpark here. We're on the same team. Our enemy is the corrupt health department, who are being told what to do by the pharmaceutical companies who want to sell this product, which, by the way, the product from Pfizer is already the second highest grossing drug in the history of mankind. And people say, you can't make money off that stuff. Oh my goodness, you can make so much money. And that's why they pay off everyone. They pay off the media. They pay off the health departments. They pay the stores to put the signs up in the windows. This is all about money. So you remind the manager that, right? Mr. Manager, you have nothing to fear. You're protecting my rights for my medical exemption. I'm protecting your rights from anybody fining you because they cannot fine you. So finally, the sheriffs or the cops are called because, you know, the manager isn't awake enough to understand what you're telling him or her. So the cops are called, and when the cops or sheriffs are called, for me at least, I'm happy to engage with them. And you know, if you don't want to engage with them, you can just say, "Am I obligated to talk to you?" And when they say no, you can say, "Okay, I'm gonna leave now." But I want to talk to them. I want to get their names. I want to give them my name, and I just right off the bat, I'm going to say, "So just a reminder here. I have a medical exemption. I have the paperwork here. I'm going to show you, which states the law, and I know you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. I appreciate that, and I am asking you to continue doing that today." Um, and then psychologically, I put this as number 8. This should probably be number 1. But psychologically, what they're doing to us to take away our rights to medical freedom, that is criminal. That is this criminal on the level of, if we're in biblical times, you know, where eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, this would not look very pretty right now. This country would be in massive civil war, and it would get really ugly. But we're evolved, right? We're an evolved species right now, so we don't do eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. We know that through the power of spiritual wisdom and enlightenment, we can turn this thing around. And so, yes, the emotions are so strong when these pinheads come at us and tell us what to do with our bodies. Like somehow a manager at Sprouts who's never passed a medical exam in his life is now practicing medicine without a license and telling me what to do. Like it's so horrendous, it's off the charts. So we gotta somehow find a way to take all that anger, right, and boil it down into love and realizing that they can't touch us, that we win, and that they're going to have to back down. And so that's what helps me sort of transfer this thing. At first, I was so into reacting, and then I finally just stopped the drama long enough to find out that, oh yeah, reacting is the weakest thing you can do in life. The strongest thing you can do in life is be proactive and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, and you're not going to stop me. So, and a reminder, private businesses, number 9, private businesses have no rights to discriminate in a place of, and this is the important wording, public accommodation. All right. So if some guy has a store where he's selling, he's a gardener or a landscaper or whatever, he could maybe make some rules because it's maybe not public accommodation. Maybe it's a private club that he's a part of with his landscape business. So he can make rules. Supermarkets are a place of public accommodation. They're not allowed to discriminate, to shut people out. So if a police officer tells you that, or the manager at Sprouts tells you that, sorry, that's just incorrect. And that's a mythology we've carried around in society for a long time that is just not true. And then again, if any officer writes you a ticket and makes you sign anything, I'm not worried about it because I know the charges are going to be dropped in 2 weeks, right? But just know that if you're ever signing under duress, you can put the letters VC, which is Latin, meaning you sign Jeff Witzeman, VC. And that just means I'm signing under duress, and that signature is null and void. It doesn't mean anything. And then finally,
Jeff, just
the
really
language.
Jeff, when you were talking about VC, you kind of cut out for a quick second. So what does VC represent?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, VC is Latin for basically that you're signing under duress. So you can sign your name, like I would sign Jeff Witzeman, VC, and that means I'm signing under duress, and that signature is null and void. So nobody can hold you to it. And then the language is really important. Like you're not asking for permission. You're just telling them the way it is and just going about your business. Now, if they block you, if they touch you, that's battery and assault. And you've got it on film, right? You're filming them. And now you can sue them and win. And there's nothing they can do about it. So the language you want to use is when they tell you something you don't want to do, you say, I do not consent. I'm not asking for permission. I'm here to uphold the rights of all citizens, both you and me. And, this is the language of the sovereign individual. And this is what we're getting to, is that we all have sovereign space and nobody can violate that. And then, samurai warriors, what they used to do before battle is they would imagine the worst thing that could happen to them in battle so that when they got time for the battle, they had no fear and they could just go about their business and do what they needed to do. And I'm not thinking of every scenario that's going to happen in the store, but I am thinking through, okay, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to purchase my item, I'm going to pay cash, I'm going to leave. It's that simple. And then I'm going to do it again and again and again. And then I'm going to do it with 10 people and then 20 people and then 50 people. And finally, they won't be able to stop us. And we will have turned this around. And then we'll do that with the PCR test. And then we'll do that with the shot. And we'll do it with everything else they try to mandate for us. And that's the way we're going to turn this thing around.
Yeah, it's excellent. Thank you so much for going through that. It really helps, like just going through it again for me, because I already read it, but just going through it again definitely gives me more confidence, understanding that being tactful, being just calm and present, and like you were saying, be there with love and not being reactive, but just stating your case and just perfect. And when you're talking about sovereign, that's exactly how I feel. There's this gentleman, Mark Passio. He made a website, whatonearthishappening.com, and he talks about natural law, and you can call it God's law, karmic law, anything you want, but it boils down to the true seven deadly sins, which is murder, assault, rape, theft, trespassing, coercion, and lying. And all of those, if you really think about them, are forms of stealing. So the big umbrella term is just don't steal. So if you really want to be a moral person, just like coercion, they're coercing us. That's not good at all. Putting a gun against our head and saying you got to do this, otherwise something bad is going to happen. That's not right. It's immoral. So for me, I've lived that way. I did that with Aldi when I was dumpster diving. They're like, "Oh, you might get fired. We agree with you, but you might get fired." I'm like, "Good. Tell the manager then. I don't care. I know I'm not doing anything wrong. You know I'm not doing anything wrong. I know I'm not stealing. I'm not purposely breaking things, knowing our policy that we're going to throw it out, so I'm going to get it then. I'm not doing any of that stuff. There's a broken cereal box and the bag's fine, but you're throwing it out, so I'm going to go get it. Sorry. Or I'm going to leave it on the side of the dumpster and I'm going to pick it up right after work. I didn't break it. It's just I'm going to save it, or I'm going to donate it, or I'm going to do something with it. I'm not stealing." So like I stood up to them when they fired me. And then after that, they fired me. I'm like, if you guys didn't fire me, I would have just quit, because I don't want to work for people like you, because you guys are just good at following the rules and not doing the right thing. So, and then I wasn't even worried about it. I didn't have a job lined up, nothing. A couple days later, I got my old job, which was like my first job. I was making double the cash. I wasn't worried. The universe, one door closed, another one opened, because I stood in truth. I had integrity, and I didn't waver from it, because I just knew what was right, and I just did what was right. So exactly what you're doing. That's why you're protected, because you know what's right. You know they don't have any right to do any of this stuff, and you're going to stand right there in truth and in love, because you know you're right. You know you're principled, and you know that you got that on your side, which is just excellent.
And
where all the power is.
I want to point out for all those people who have jobs like teachers, where they're working for the government in a sense, they're being really coerced right now to not only a mandate, but get the PCR test every 2 weeks, which, by the way, that thing is super dangerous. And then they're being coerced to get the shot. And everybody needs to know, whether you're shopping at a supermarket or whether you're holding down your job, you are allowed informed consent. Nobody can force you to do a medical procedure, especially an emergency use medical procedure. And if they do, if they fire you for it, that's on them. You can sue them for major cash. Look, most people don't want to get sued. I know the school systems do not want to get sued. They'll do anything not to get sued. So what you do as a school teacher is you walk in, meet with the principal, you give him this documentation, and you say, "Look, I want you to know I have a medical exemption. I will not be doing the mask, the PCR test, or the shot. And I want you to back me up on this. If you don't, I'll get an attorney involved. But I'm protected under the law, and you're not allowed to force anything on me or to fire me. And so I'm giving you notice, and I'm going to give you these 4 documents. I'd like you to sign them. It's an affidavit. And if you want to film it, you can. If you want to have a secret pocket, I think Amazon sells a pocket pen with a camera on it for $35. That might be better in a place of employment than holding a phone up, filming your boss. But you got nothing to lose here. They have nothing on you.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Like if I knew what I knew, what I know now, back when Now Foods was doing that little bamboozling, I would have had a lot easier of a time for sure. I might have been able to even stay there. Who even knows? But yeah, it's such powerful information. It's great. It's really, really good. So how do you see things going in the near or distant future? Do you feel, because I know that they don't want to stop this kind of what they're doing. They're slowly marching towards continuing to coerce people. They're going to try to weed you out of society. If you don't have your passport or your papers, you can't go into because now there's like in New York, they have like the Excelsior pass. You can't go into sporting events or all these niche kind of things without having some sort of paper or document. How do you see things going in the future, and how do you see the public at large in their response to these kind of things?
Yeah, and let me just say, Nicholas, I have about 5 minutes left, if that's okay, and we can pick this up at another time. But for today, I got 5 minutes. So I'm a part of a group called Health Freedom for Humanity, and we're located at healthfreedomforhumanity.org. And the reason I mention that is that we are now starting to mobilize as citizens, and we're finding local groups in the cities we live in, and we are getting together, and we're fighting back against these things. And there is nothing more exciting than finding other people that are on the same page as you, that want to stop this insanity, stop this madness. And on the site, healthfreedomforhumanity.org, there's a contact button. And if you go to that contact button, fill out your information, you will then get a newsletter every week. And it often ends up in the promotions thing, or your spam mail, whatever. It comes every Monday. If you can't find it, look in your promotions folder or your spam folder. But you will get notices every week about the things we are doing to change the world. Because we're not, this group is not limited to the United States. It is all over the world. And we're taking back our rights and our freedom. And so, you asked me, where do I think this is going? I think this is going where we're all getting together, we're binding together, and we are going to peacefully turn this thing around. They've made so many mistakes. There's so many people dying from medical stuff right now, and it's all going to it's going to be exposed. People are going to be tired of watching their loved ones dying and being injured. And every day, Nicholas, there's more and more people coming to our group, Health Freedom for Humanity. And, doctors wanting to be a part of it. Doctors that are told, you have to do this thing and do this shot and the test. And doctors are going, we don't want to do it. Like 40% of the whole health community is like, no, we don't want to do this. So this is really exciting. We are binding together. We're getting together, both on a local level, on a national level, on a global level. And, we're taking our freedom back. And for me, I know it's silly, but it starts in a grocery store, and it starts with educating the people in the grocery store. And once they see, once the powers that be see that we are not going to bow down, we are not going to fall over here, they're going to have to stop. They're going to have to stop with the mandates, and they're going to try to compromise with us. And at that point, we'll just roll all over them. So it's going to be exciting. Sorry. That was my phone. It's going to be exciting, and it's great to meet people like you. We're all connecting, right? The people that see things in a loving way. So I'm just really excited about what's happening.
Yeah, the only thing I can see them doing is doing another sort of event or something to kind of just up the ante. That's the only thing I can see them doing, because this same narrative has been going on for over a year now, and I can't believe they've made it last this long without adding anything new besides like variants or whatever else kind of hokum that they're saying. But yeah, do you know of any like sort of flyers or anything like that? Because I mean, we have these documents, but that's just more like informational, like just law stuff. But any like hard hitting things because like you're talking about, it's the grocery stores. That's like ground zero right now. There's so many people that are there, and is there anything that you can think of that for people to pass around?
I love it. That's a great idea, Nicholas. Let's do that. Let's figure out some good flyers that we can start posting places. And I love what they're doing in Australia. They're setting up a table that says in big printing, COVID is a scam. Prove me wrong. And
I've seen that. Yeah.
This guy just sits at a table. People walk by, and he's got flyers if they want flyers, and he talks to people, and they film it. And I think that's a great thing for us to do in the future.
Yeah. All right, yeah, because I don't know of any right now, so like I mean this is the time to make one then if it's not there. So
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, awesome. All right, so yeah, if you just want to give anyone just some of your information, like where people can find you, I already have it basically all linked up. But yeah, just
Yeah, I'm at Jeff Weitzman on Instagram, Facebook, Telegram. I've got channels on Library, Brand New Tube, YouTube,
nice.
and then I've got can be contacted on my website, cancercanbekilled.com. You can contact me and the others at healthfreedomforhumanity.org. So there's lots of ways to reach me, and I'm happy to help any way I can.
Yeah, if you can send me those links for library, I didn't know you were even on that. So yeah, that's perfect. If you can just send me those extra ones, that would be perfect, so I can post them up. Yeah, thank you
Excellent.
so much, Jeff. Seriously, God bless you. I love that you're. Yeah, so here's Lindsay, the one that showed me you. Love you, Jeff.
Love you too, Lindsay.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay, for showing me Jeff's videos. It's awesome. I'm so glad to have met you. I really appreciate everything you're doing. Keep up the great work. I'd love to be able to talk to you again in the future. So stay strong and keep fighting the good fight.
Let's keep it going, Nicholas.
All right, everyone, take care.
Thank you.